What's up guys, in today's video we're going to build a paludarium for an animal that is soon to come on the channel within the next few videos. So we're going to use this 20-gallon tank that was Maverick's, but if you saw last video we cleaned it out and got him a new tank. Let's get into it. Alright, we're going to start the video off by cleaning Maverick's old tank. We're going to take out these rocks and the substrate. With the rocks out of the way, now it's time to clean out the substrate, but for that it'll be easier to take off the doors. I also put on this LED light so it's easier to see. Additionally, I removed some of the bigger pieces inside of the substrate, like small sticks and cork bark and some rocks. Now it's time to start removing the substrate. I use the trash bag method. The trash bag method is basically just where you put substrate into the trash bag and then empty it into a bigger one. Once there's barely any substrate left, you'll have to use your hands, and then you also want to move to a vacuum, which is what I did. I recommend you use a shop vac for this, but mine is broken at the moment. And just like that, all your substrate's out. With all the substrate out, it's time to disassemble the tank. It's pretty easy to disassemble the tank, especially if you have the right tools, which I ended up grabbing two of the wrong screwdrivers twice in a row, so I ended up just using a drill. Basically, you take out this front bar, because this tank is like foldable kind of, but you take out this front bar and then the doors, of course, and then the two side panels, which are pretty easy. You just pop this out on both sides and then it just kind of falls out, but you'll have to be careful so that it doesn't fall into the floor and crack. You also might want to just push them back down. With that out of the way, you'll want to take out these back two screws, which I already did, and then you'll want to just fold this back piece down. You'll have to use some force, but it'll fall. And then fold in these side panels. I'm pretty sure they don't sell this model anymore with the PVC back, but I think they have a glass version. Anyways, now we're in my bathroom, and I'm going to clean the tank now with just the shower head. First, I'm going to just soak it with a bunch of water, and then I'm going to use a bunch of dish soap. It's not reptile safe, I don't think, but if you wash it all off, it'll be fine. And just like that, the tank is fully clean. It was obviously a two-hand job, and I didn't feel like getting out my head mount or setting up the camera, so yeah. And it's all dry too now, so I'm putting it back together. Put on the front bar, and then the 4 screws, which are these. The 2 long ones go in the back, and then the 2 front ones are the shortest ones. And as you can see, you just drill it right in, or use a screwdriver. Now it's time for the lid, and to put that on, you just push in these little knob things and then push them down to secure it. Now it's time to wash the doors and then the glass side panels. To wash these, I just put on the soap and then use my hands to scrub it. And then I dry it with a paper towel. And as you can see, it is clean. Now I'm going to unwrap the side panels and install them. And just like that there, and you can't even tell because they're so clean. I already put on the left panel, and now it is time to install the doors. And now I'm going to just put on this LED light for visibility purposes. With the tank all clean, we can finally start scaping. I have this piece of mopani driftwood that I'm going to use. Water will be easily able to flow under and around it once it's fully full. And speaking of water, we're going to need to get some dechlorinator for this, because the one I have right now is almost empty. So, to the store. As you can see, I've got a siphon and the water dechlorinator. I don't know if the siphon's going to work because of how low the water is, but I will need to do water changes. So, yeah. This tank was advertised as being watertight, but I don't know how much I want to trust that, so I'm going to silicone it. As you can see, the silicone job that was done at the factory isn't the best, so I'm going to be extra careful and silicone it with 100% all-purpose silicone that is clear. I wanted to apply the silicone quickly, so the filming job for this wasn't the best, but you get the point. It's just squeeze and move the silicone gun, and then I put my hand in a trash bag, and then just to smooth it out. You can use gloves or whatever, just you don't really want to touch this stuff. I've done it multiple times and it is not fun. With the silicone all applied, I can now show you what it looks like. It is definitely not the prettiest, but as long as it holds water in, it's not that big of a deal. And at least from the front, it doesn't look terrible. Also, there will be about a ½ inch of sand at the bottom, so it will cover up most of it. I forgot to film it, but I put a fan up next to it overnight and let it dry. So it's the next morning now, and it is all dry, as you can see. So yeah, I put the piece of mopani wood back in the tank, and as you can see, it's still not really pretty, but whatever. With the tank fully sealed, it's time to do a water test to see if it's gonna leak any water. I have a 5-gallon bucket that I'm gonna fill up about 75% full. With the bucket now full, I'm going to try to figure out how to siphon it into here, or I'm going to end up just dumping it, which is what I had to do because it was a bit hard. It's about 1.5, almost 2 inches actually, of water, and the sand is going to be about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little more. We'll see how that all plays out. Now I'm going to try to siphon it out. I ended up just dumping it in, so this is how I figured out how to siphon it. It was complicated, and I do not remember how I did it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need to figure out a better way to do this because it's going to take forever to siphon out with this little tube. So, yeah, I'll probably end up getting one of those pump siphons where there's a pump. So, yeah, I'm going to sit here for the next 10 minutes. Alright, that 10 minutes is up, and it is dry. I've used a towel to wipe up the excess water, and yeah, I marked the inside of the bucket, so now I know how much I'm going to need to fill it up next time. There's no water outside of the tank other than what has spilled, and there's a mess from me trying to figure out how to do the siphon. So yeah, but the water held up. So now I'm going to use a fan to try to blow out that excess water that the towel could not get up. It's a few hours later now, and I'm going to put the lid back on because everything is dry. So yeah, this is the layout I'm going to use, but instead of those rocks, I'm going to use that crushed limestone. I took it from Maverick's tank last video, if you saw that. I took it outside and used a hammer and chiseled it open, and now I have a few pieces to work with. I am probably going to end up using some of them that are already in the tank, plus some more, but yeah, now we have some pieces to work with. So I'm going to take out these rocks and now figure out what to do with this stuff. After messing around with it for a few minutes, this is the scape that I've came up with. I think water will circulate through here really well. So, and there will be no trapped like dirt or sand or waste. Here there'll be a big piece of mopani wood that'll come up here probably if I can find one. And I have this rock hide thing found in the woods. It will be like almost submerged, but that's kind of the whole point. So yeah, I think it all looks pretty good. Everything flows together. It's a few hours later and a package with stuff for the tank has arrived. So let's open it up and see what I got. I got temperature and humidity gauges, a filter, and after struggling with it for a minute, I got a light. The light will go on here, and I'm going to show you guys how it works. So there are four buttons, but like 3 things you can do with it. Well, you'll see. So there's on and off, obviously, and then a timer with 4, 8, and 10 hours like durations, and then there's 3 light mode settings. So there's this one, which is what I'm going to use, and then that blue, and then like the normal like cool like light day, and then you can also like change the brightness. Pretty sure there's 8 different, or no, there's 4 different like light brightness settings, if that makes sense. Yeah, this is what I'm probably going to end up using. I might change it. I'm definitely not going to use that blue, but yeah. Now I'm going to unbox the filter. Inside the box, these are all like the connection point things. This is like for like aeration, I think, and then this is like the extra propeller. And now these are all like the connection points where you can like adjust the flow of the water. Now I'm gonna play around and try to figure out like how I want the water to come out of it. I won't know for sure until it's in the water, because the water flow might be too like harsh for the animal, because the animal I'm getting does not like hard water flow. Alright, I've got the filter now hooked up in the tank, so it kind of just like goes through here and out the back. This thing also comes off. It's just like the same on the other side. I took it off though, so if that makes sense. Okay, now I have it back here. This is how I might have it. We'll see. I'm gonna try to have it come up over here and then like waterfall effect down, if that makes sense. So, but I still have no idea, because depending on how like hard the water comes out, it might not work. Now we're gonna add some sand, but I need to wash it first. So I have Quikrete play sand, premium play sand. So I'm gonna put it in, I'm gonna like measure it out. Well, no, I'm just putting it in a pot, hoping I have enough, because I don't want to do this process again because it takes forever. So basically what we're doing is we're washing the sand so that when we fill up the tank with water, it's not cloudy. So basically what you're gonna do is fill it with water and then just kind of mix it around, as you can see I'm doing here, and then dump it out. And you're gonna repeat that process until the water is somewhat clear or is clear. So yeah, I'm gonna speed this up because it was like an 8-minute and 30-second video without speeding it up. So yeah. Okay, after that time lapse, I have the sand all clean, and now I'm gonna add it into the tank, but I'm gonna take out sections of like everything in the tank, like at a time, like this, and then add the sand in, because I want to keep everything like the same. I don't want to risk messing that up, so yeah, if that makes sense, I don't know. So I have the sand in now. Yeah, it was somewhat easy. I had like just enough, like barely enough, but it works. I have the filter. I don't know if it's gonna suck up any sand. I have it oriented how like I want it, so hopefully the water will spray up and over that like mopani would, and then like create like a drip waterfall effect. I don't know. Yeah, now we're gonna fill it up with water. So I have a Lowe's bucket and some Tetra Aquasafe to condition it. So I'm gonna dump in some of that. Now we're gonna get a cup of water, and because I don't have a siphon, well I do, but that didn't really go too well. So yeah, now we're going to just pour in the water slowly like this. I don't want to risk like clouding up the sand too much, but if I do, it's not that big of a deal. Alright, I'm gonna speed this up too because it takes a while also, because I'm just filling it up cup by cup. Alright, that didn't take too long. I think it was like 2.5 gallons maybe. As you can see, the water is filled as much as I can. Yeah, and it's not too cloudy. So now I'm gonna plug in the filter and see what happens. And as you can see, that water flow is insane. That is way too like bad. Alright, now after a few minutes, the tank started leaking. So now I am siphoning out the water. So that's fun. But I have good news. It stopped leaking when I started, so I'm just assuming that, like, I don't even know, but it stopped leaking, and it hasn't leaked since filming this voice recording, but it was, like, leaking right there, like, drop, like, every, like, second, and it made a puddle, but, yeah, it's stopped leaking, so I'm just happy now. As you can see, the filter hasn't sucked up too much sand. I don't think it has. Yeah, everything is flowing, running good. The water flows back here is pretty good. As you can see, I fixed the filter, like it's not, like I figured out like a water flow, so I'm not doing the waterfall thing, but everything works. It looks somewhat good. It's a few hours later now, and I'm gonna just give you some updates. So I'm gonna have to cycle the tank, obviously more on that later. And throughout the tank, I'm going to get some like little pebbles to like detail it better. I've tweaked the flow a little bit, so it's perfect. All the water like flows. Yeah, so all throughout here, I'm gonna add some botanicals and like little river stones. It's the next day, and overnight the mopani wood, as you can see, has released some tannins into the water, so it's kind of like a brown tint to it. I've added this plant. I'm probably not going to keep it just for now, but I have this plant, which is a pothos, which is super good for cleaning the tank, like with its roots, you know, to get rid of like nitrates or whatever. I don't know, I'm not good at that stuff. Anyways, I'm going to put it in the tank, and I'll show you how it looks afterward. After playing around with it, this is what I've came up with. This is separate from all of this, kind of. I cut it. It won't be there probably because I'm gonna have to get some like mopani wood. I'm probably not gonna use this. Well, no, I know I'm not gonna use it. Yeah, I have this little shell. I'm gonna just add it in for some detail. So yeah. I've gone in and done some more details. I added this little cutting of pothos. It should grow because there is some nodes on there, which is what makes it grow. I've rearranged this a little bit, so it's just kind of like comes out more. There will be a big piece of mopani wood again, so this is not going to be like an empty space and have that rock like sitting on there. That won't be there either. So bad news, the tank has started to leak, so I'm just going to siphon it out and dry the area. It's leaking from the same place earlier, so yeah, I'm going to have to seal that. It's been like 30 minutes now, and the paper towel has slowly soaked up the water around this area, but I'm going to have to like build it up more around it and kind of like create a dam because I'm not removing any of this stuff in the tank. So yeah, I'm doing it the lazy way. Hopefully it works. So as you can see, I've got it like built up around it, and I'm gonna let that dry now that I've siliconed it. So yeah, and then once it's dry, we're gonna remove this and put the sand back and then fill it back up and pray that it doesn't leak. So yeah, I got my 5-gallon bucket with about 3 gallons of water and a cup, and I'm gonna slowly start to fill up the tank. So this is a time lapse, of course, because it obviously did not take this long. Alright, now the water is filled back up, and we're gonna just hope it doesn't leak again. So yeah, we're gonna continue on with the build. First though, we're gonna add in some of the rocks that I took out to siphon the water out, like these rocks and then this big rock, of course, because that's where the leak was and where I siliconed it. I have a paper towel sitting here, so I'll know if it leaks again. So far, it hasn't since recording this audio recording, so that's good for now. Now I'm gonna just dechlorinate this water because it is tap water. Yeah, I'm using some Tetra Aquasafe. My package has arrived surprisingly today. It wasn't supposed to come today, but it has the wood inside of it. So let's open it up and see what type of wood I got. Well, I know it's mopani wood, but I don't know what it looks like. It was like a mystery pack. I'll leave a link in the description for it. So hopefully it looks good. Opening it up, they seem to meet what they said it was going to be, 10 to 14 inches. I didn't measure them out, but they look good, I think. It's definitely a gamble buying wood online because you could pay $50 and then end up getting a stick, so I'm happy. Now I'm gonna have to clear this space out to put the wood, but before we put the wood in, I'm going to have to boil it to release most of the tannins because I don't want the water to be too dark. And to do that, you're gonna boil some water. These pieces of wood are too big though, so I'm putting it in the 5-gallon bucket and I'm just filling it up with that boiling water and then letting it soak for 30 minutes to an hour. I don't know how long I did, but yeah, as you can see, maybe 5 minutes in and it's already starting to become tan, as you can see, or the tannins are releasing. So after that was done, I'm now going to put it in, and as you can see, this is what I've came up with so far. I think it looks really good. After adjusting the leaves a little bit more, now it's just time to add some final small details. I have these shells. They used to be one. I found it under the water at a beach a while ago. I found it real deep under the water, so that was a cool find. It was connected too. So yeah, I'm gonna wash them off because they're a little dusty and place them in the tank. And as you can see, I'm going with this one because they're slightly different, even though it's from the same. I put the less appealing one back there to like kind of stop the flow a little bit. I don't know. I think it looks really good. And I don't know if I'm going to do botanicals or the little like stones for more detail, and if so, that'll be in the next video when we get the animal for this, so definitely stay tuned for that video. With the tank now finished, I'm going to show you guys some B-roll clips, stop talking, and just let you guys enjoy it. And that is all for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss next video, which is gonna most likely be getting the animal for this tank. Leave your guesses on what the animal will be in the comments. See you in the next one.